Yo, what's going on, guys? Ron here, aka Neos, and today, guys, we gotta talk about one of the most broken and unfair new engines to currently hit the format. Um, Quite frankly, I'm talking about the new Dark Magician, Dark Magician support that we got in Maze of Muertos. Um, I'm sure y'all have seen a lot of it online. If you haven't, there's a lot of good content out there covering it, but I wanted to cover it here on the channel today because, I feel like I should. I kind of tried to ignore it, but I feel like I just have to at this point. I have to cover it. So, um, we're going to be going over, like, generally, like, what the archetype does, what you have access to, and then obviously also some engines that you can play in it. So, um, starting out first here, I'm going to pull up Mitsurugi. This should be quite self-explanatory, but just in case, I'm going to go over everything down here, and then everything in the extra deck, and then explain how this ties in with Mitsurugi. Um, so we have the Diabell Star engine here, which is like the wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, obviously the Black Witch itself, Deception, and then we have Debtors, or you can also do the Hollowed. Um, let's see here. Azamina, which would be this one, your normal play spell. I think that this is better because this lets you banish it to special summon an Azamina for free from the graveyard, which is really dumb, but whatever, I guess. So yeah, basically, Wanted gets you to Black Witch gets you Deception. Deception, funny enough, tributes a monster out of your hand or face-up field in order to for cost to search a sinful spoil or Azamina card specifically. So we have the hollowed Azamina and then Azamina Debtors. These are your two search targets. It's up to you which you want to play. I would recommend playing Debtors. It just gives you really good access to being able to summon something like Il Sylvia on your opponent's turn, which gives you like more follow up for like deception, being able to reset it, and then also you have like sinful spoils wanted to be able to draw you a card. So this has the effect that you can target a sinful spoil spell or trap that is banished during your graveyard, except this card's name, place on the bottom of the deck, then draw one card. So really, really strong effect attached to the effect to also search the Diabell, which gets you access to everything. But if you obviously heard what I mentioned, that the Deception here tributes a monster for cost, right? So it says here you can tribute one monster from your hand or field, semicolon, right? This is your cost. Add an Azamina card. This also has an effect that if you control an Azamina monster, uh, if a monster or monsters is sent from your opponent to your opponent's graveyard while you control that Azamina monster, except during the damage step, you can make your opponent lose 1,500 life points if you do gain 1,500 life points. This is really dumb. So if you control like Azamina Il Sylvia, Muro Cielago, or anything else that has the Azamina in it, if they link summon, if they just like send something off of the field for a synchro, anything like that, you can trigger the deception off of that. It's really, really powerful. Uh, and then this also has an effect that during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn from the spell and trap card zone while it was face up, you can set it. So this allows you to like basically like loop it, right? So whenever you send it off of your sinful spoils, either Debtors or hollowed, during the end phase, you can put it back face down, and on your opponent's turn, flip it face back up. So really strong here. And then we have, obviously, this is part of the Dark Magician support. This is your Gaze of Tamias. This allows you search this off of your Dark Magician of Destruction, which allows you to get access to literally all of these monsters that I thought were worthwhile here. Obviously, Dragoon is pretty self-explanatory. I'll get to the monsters here in a second, though. So, moving on with the Sinful Spoil stuff, I just wanted to, like, let's say, like, you wanted to play extra targets instead of Deception, for, like, whatever the reason, like, maybe you might draw it, right? So you want to play, like, two of this and one of something else, I wanted to show some other Sinful Spoils options you have. You have Awakening, Subdual, Betrayal, and the White Forest Fusion of Sinful Spoils, which basically you can just make Guardian Chimera with. That's why this is here. Um, Really easy to make. I think the strongest one here is the Awakening. If your opponent controls 3 or more monsters, and you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster, this is level 6. Target up to 3 cards your opponent controls for cost, and then return them to the hand. So it does target, which is not super great, but it is up to 3 cards, so you don't have to target 2, and or you don't have to target 3. I'm sorry, you can target like 1 or 2 or 3, and then it bounces them. And then it also says if you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster, well, and this card is in your graveyard, you can set it but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use one effect of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn. So, for example, right, let's say you have Il Sylvia up. You have Il Sylvia, they put some monsters on the field, they go battle phase. You're like, cool, in your battle phase, bounce 3 of your monsters. Back to your hand. They go main phase 2, you use Il Sylvia's effect to negate something, right? You go next turn, you go Debtor's effect, banish it for cost to target this to special summon it from grave, special summon it, and then on resolution you go Awakening, replace itself. So you can have 2 turns back to back. You have bounce 3 and an Omni negate, which is really broken. Lesser than that is the Sinful Spoils of Aversion, or Subdual. So you can take a level 5 or higher illusion monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it, but you cannot activate those effects during the main phase. This is a spellcaster, so this doesn't work, but any level 5 or higher illusion monster is pretty generic. So you can special whatever you want, and like I said, it says you cannot activate its effects during the main phase this turn, so really doesn't matter. You can special summon it in the standby phase, and if it has an effect, it can be triggered then, it can be triggered in battle phase. There's a lot of different options here. There's also stuff that doesn't activate. Let's see here. Sinful, which is going to be, let me grab this one. You have the Diabelle's, the original Sin Keeper, her forcing your opponent to set spell cards before they can use them. Your opponent must set spells or traps before activating them. It does have the activated effect to pop something that your opponent sets, but you don't, as if it says you can't activate it, right? You can just summon it in standby with Subdual and lock your opponent with this because it's an illusion. Silvera has the effect that so it has 2 different effects. You can send a Diabelle monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Target a face-up card on the field, negate its effects. This is permanent. So if you negate something that stays on the field, like a field spell or like Mandate, like it's negated permanently until they remove it and bring it back, or whatever the case might be. Or if your opponent activates a card or effect in response to a Diabelle Star monster or effect, or a Sinful Spoil spell or trap card or effect activation, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that effect. This is really good because if you have anything that's like, let's say you activate this and your opponent doesn't want you to do anything, or let's say you activate this, for example, and you're like, I'm gonna fuse, and they go Chain Dominus Impulse. You can just banish the side of your graveyard for cost and negate its effect, and fuse anyways. Really, really dumb. Obviously, this is fusion spell, and like I said, this is the fusion that I mentioned that you would more likely than not make. This is basically what everyone makes off of the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. Moving on to your Sinful Spoils and Azamina stuff and all the fusion stuff here. You have obviously Il Sylvia. This is basically like the Phantom of Yubel. It sends itself to the grave for cost to negate an effect whenever your opponent activates a card or effect. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Sinful Spoils trap from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good. And then this one has the effect that when it's summoned, it's going to search a Azamina or Sinful Spoils card from your deck to your hand, and then if it's destroyed, it searches a spell or it searches a spell. So they both have like pretty good, effects attached to them. Monsters your opponent controls leave 500 attack and defense for each monster Azumina you control, and then this also says any battle damage your Azumina's effect is doubled. So let's say you can put both of them on the field, right? You make them lose 500 attack. You punch them, they take 500. They take 1,000 instead. So pretty good. This mainly works better with like other Azumina monsters, like Mo Regina or like the Saint Azumina, but that's kind of besides the point. You don't really play those. On to the Dark Magician stuff here. So obviously you make this over the top of your Diabellstar, right? So whether you start with Wanted or you start with Witch, it doesn't matter because you're going to get to a spell no matter what. You activate it, you summon this by banishing the Diabellstar, and then, you just, go from there. I would recommend, by the way, playing 2 of these because, like, you're going to banish one of them, so you want to keep your Sinful Spoils alive so you can keep looping and drawing cards. But anyways, so after you make your destruction and you get to like Gaze, this is like the best one that you can get because of being able to cheat out like Dragoon is just really strong. But there's more options than that, right? Because this is Fusion Summon, something that mentions Dark Magician basically. It's treated as a Fusion Summon by using the monster, this thing, as material. So you can make this guy, Dragoon, obviously. You can make Dark Magicians, and then you can make Master of Chaos, Dark Magician of the Night, and then you have the Knight of Dragon Magic. So going over their effects respectively, this one just says basically you can make this card gain attack during the damage calc for each spell or trap in or each spell in the graveyards and banishment. So that's like pretty good. It just gets big. And then during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you target a spell or trap on the field. Quick effect, pop it, pretty good. You can pop things like Mandate. It's it can be pretty good. Being able to like pop like your own stuff as well, because like during your opponent's turn you can target one spell or trap on the field. So let's say you activate something, they chain like something to target and negate it, for example Mandate. You can pop your own card if you want to, which is an option. Like, it's just pretty good. And then yeah, so like not super great, but definitely something that's like worth noting. Also, after this card is special summon, it's unaffected by other cards' effects until the end of your next turn. So, like, if you summon it on your opponent's turn, it's still unaffected until it gets back to your opponent, which is just, pretty crazy, especially when it's attached to effect to gain attack. So, Dragoon's pretty self-explanatory. Discard a card, negate affected card's activation. Yeah, negate activation, you should destroy it, and then it gains 1,000 attack. That's all this card does. It just goes, no, boom. And it fucking explodes something. Well, this one is really good. So once per turn, if a spell or trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can draw a card. And then if it was a spell or trap, you can set it. And if it was a trap or a quick play spell, you can activate it this turn. So basically, right, you can activate something on your turn, draw a card. And then your opponent activates something, you draw a card. And then let's say you draw Prayers. You can be like, I drew Prayers, reveal it to your opponent, set it, and be able to activate it. Same thing goes with the Mitsurugi Trap, because it just says spell or trap. It just says if it's a trap or a quick play spell, not even if it has to be Dark Magician, which is super broken. Like, imagine you draw, like I said, Prayers, Purification, Dominus Impulse. Let's say you draw Imperm. Let's say you draw, like, there's just so many spells and traps that you can just draw and be live. You can draw Wanted, right? That's a quick play spell. You could draw Debtors. You could draw Sinful Spoils. You could, like, any of these. You could draw the Fusion spell. There's just unlimited potential. That's why I have everything down here to kind of talk about this card. But we also have Master of Chaos. Fusion summon, you target a light or dark monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Dark monsters. Dark monster. Ooh, there's a light monster here, but dark monsters. pretty generic. Like, I would like to fusion summon and go target Murakumo, summon, Murakumo, go boom. Pretty good. Um, it also has the effect that you contribute one light or dark monster, uh, one light and one dark monster. Sorry, one light and one dark monster. Banish all monsters your opponent controls. Period. You could put a light monster in here somehow. Like I said, this is a light monster. Um, yeah, there's definitely ways to do this. It's not like and super duper easy, right? But like you could egg these into like light Agnister Dragon or something. Like there's plenty of things. And then you just go like, and this says tribute. It says tribute. That's also a reason this is in here. This card becomes Dark Magician while on the field. So this is, yeah, Dragon Knight. Your opponent cannot target spells or traps you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This is just Radiant Typhoon Heat. This is just, you summon this and you go pass. And you have like anywhere from 2 to 5 back row set. And you just go, good luck, buddy. Really dumb. And then we have this one here. If your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If your monster, it doesn't matter which one. It doesn't mean this one. It means any monster you control, basically. And then on top of that, once per turn, when your monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. So basically, this helps you fucking just blow through your opponent's board and kill them. If this card is destroyed, you can special summon both one Dark Magician and then Gaia the Grand Champion from your hand, deck, extra deck, or graveyard. This doesn't really matter, but I'm just that is also there. Mainly the fact that it can you just summon this and kill your opponent basically, because everything you do does piercing damage. So if they have anything that's small, you just run over them and then you just hit their biggest monster with like Murakumo, and then you do like whatever their attack is, you're gonna take that as damage, and they just evaporate. Your opponent just goes and they die. The main reason I wanted to talk about this whole engine, like as a whole, with the Mitsurugi, is because that you can play, obviously, and get value off of like tributing things like Saji, Aramasa, Kusanagi, any of the ritual monsters. These are like free. They're free fodder. It's perfect. Doesn't matter. And if you notice here, let's say we play a package, right? So we play this here. I would play 2 ritual spells just personally. That's just my like forte. And then we would play the 2 witch, I guess. We'll play like 1 debtors. We'll play like the double deception here as well. I think that's good. And then yeah, like I think this is fine. I would not play the hollowed. You obviously need to play gaze, right? This could be like, all of this could be in your side. Me personally, you could actually play this because you can search an extra like Azamina or Sinful Spoils card. So like, let's say you want to do that. The best one to search is this, so you can make Guardian Chimera. We'll put all these back here, and then yeah, if you look here, like this is like a bigger package for you to be playing, right? You could definitely cut down. But like I said, you want to keep this live, in my opinion, right? Which is why you would play 2 Black Witch. And then opening the Deception is not a bad thing. You could definitely argue to cut this down to 1, though. You could play 3 of this, right, as a pseudo starter, right? Because, like, opening this plus any one of your names would just be like, it's just like, free value. It does play into Drool, but, you know, not the worst thing ever. And like I said, it's all up to your personal preference, right? But this gives you option for 12 non-engine, right? So, for example, you could play Bell. You have Dominus Impulse, obviously. If you play Dominus Impulse, you should play Imperm, right? And then we have Ash, Blossom, Uh, and then we have Fuilos. Boom. And then we'll just cut the Bell out, right? Like, you don't have to play Bell if you don't want to. And then here's 40 cards. Here's a fully functioning Mitsurugi deck that plays the Azumina stuff, right? The extra deck has plenty of room in it for you to put stuff like IP. That is the wrong thing. IP. We use the new art. SP. Dynamundo. Gorgon. And then you have an extra slot for like whatever you could possibly think of. Like, I'll just leave it there, right? So there's, and like obviously there's a bunch of extra stuff in here that you don't like necessarily are gonna play. So like if you only play the Dragoon, right, and then you play like this stuff, you have the negate, you have this, you have your little package here of 2 cards. You have 9 cards in here. That's 6 cards that you can play with, right? So do whatever with that you want. That's it for this, guys. Like I said, I wanted to talk about this package. Obviously, I love Mitsurugi, so being able to talk about Mitsurugi again is also fantastic. So, like I said, I just want to express all these options to you. I'm also going to showcase here what it would look like playing it in an Elf Note deck. So, this is Aha. Here you go. So, for example, like voila, I'll go ahead and I'll change this real quick. Because I think this would be more proper. Like I said, playing the extra Diabell is just good. So you play all your normal ratios for the this stuff, and then you have I cut down like 1 Medius here just because it's like meh. Don't get me wrong, seeing Medius is actually like super duper fine because you can go ahead and pitch this or tribute it off of Deception and get like double value out of it, right? Because he can come back. And then you can also, like, this also lets you put stuff back in the deck, which is really, really strong. You being able to put something back, like, you know, whatever that's on the field, or for whatever reason. Let's say you use, like, Dragoon, you make it on your opponent's turn, and then it passes back to you, and then your opponent's, like, you know, they do something else, you negate it with Dragoon, you can put Dragoon back with the Medius if you feel like you need to, right? Or let's say you resummon the Il Sylvia off of the Debtors, right? And you want to put it back in the deck for whatever the reason might be, right? Because you're gonna like Sinful Spoils, put back Debtors, and then you're gonna, you know, your Deception had been reset, so you get to summon it again, right? But it's stuck in like whatever, right? Whatever the case might be. There's just a lot of options for you to do. Like I said, I just kind of threw this together. To be honest, I was just like, so it's not super perfect in my opinion. This is probably about like what I would play, to be honest, but like I said, I just wanted to like showcase something for y'all. And like if y'all look at the extra deck here, the amount of room y'all have is gargantuan. Plenty of room here. Keep in mind, you can also play the LZ. You can play this gal. This is a level 2. She is not a tuner, but you can play her and then use like her as synchro material with, for example, the Patron, right? This is you can make a 6 with this, or you can make a 3 if there are any like good 3s. I don't know if there are, to be honest, but you can make synchro 6s, and there's plenty of good synchro 6s. Also, I have in here Hyper Librarian, and then I have Omega. Omega is really, really good in this because this actually allows you to loop the package. It is slow. It does take 2 turns to do it because you need to be able to return something to the graveyard usually, or you need to be able to like put it back. So, for example, what you could do, let's say you have Dragoon on the field, you synchro into this. Using like Medius plus Patron, and you have your Timaeus in the graveyard. You have like access to Black Witch through like Sinful Spoils. You can summon it, right, for whatever reason, not use its effect. Use Medius to put back their Dragoon, and then you can, you know, remake everything because you're you're going to be able to, activate a spell card more likely than not with like Theorealize or, the Welcome Home or whatever the case might be. Well, this was going to synchro lock you, but you get the point, right? There's plenty of like spells in here for the most part. And then you'll be able to, after you put back Dragoon, being able to use the Omega to put back the Timaeus, then re-special summon the Dark Magician because it's going to be put back in the deck off of Timaeus when you originally fusion summoned, which means now when you summon it, you can research the Timaeus and then re-special summon the Dragoon that you put back with Medius. So I hope that was pretty self-explanatory. If it wasn't, I apologize. But basically, you're going to loop Dragoon. Pretty good, right? No, who doesn't like looping cards? I like looping cards. I also like drawing cards. Drawing cards is really good. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So drawing cards is, awesome. Also with Hyper Librarian in the deck, because you just have so much room for like synchros, you can draw like 3 or 4 cards just in like a natural combo with this deck, right? You synchro this, and then you can synchro into Seraphim. That's a draw. You can synchro into like XL, and then if you leave it on the field, XL can synchro. Yeah, it can synchro again, right? So that's another draw. So yeah, and then obviously your ability to quick synchro with the Patron to make like either this or the Patron of Tuning is an option, which can give you another draw. Synchroing and making Dragster on the same turn is going to give you a draw. So off of like Seraphim and you make Crystal Wing, and then let's say you make Dragster. Seraphim, Dragster. On your opponent's turn, if you were able to make like Axel, which would have been like another draw, you would have been able to. You're gonna draw again. So like 4 draws. It's pretty good. Like 2 draws minimum. Like you're gonna draw 2 minimum. And then I have QB in here, which QB is just a really dumb card. Any card that's sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead. It's a Floodgate. I talked about this card before, so I'm not going to talk about it that much more. If you want to read it, you can look it up or pause the video here and read it. I'll also scroll down just in case. So, but anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Like I said, I want to talk about the Diabellstar stuff, and it's just super broken. It's super, super broken. You can play it in basically anything. It doesn't matter. And yeah, guys, and obviously I wanted to show you all examples of what you could play it in. So I'm going to make myself big. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please, if y'all would, take the time to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. It really does help me out, and it lets you know when I post more content. So anyways, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.